크리스 혹시 아시는 분 계십니까? 어떻게 고용직 선생님이셨구나. 주책층 말고 혹시 아시는 분 계십니까? 어떻게 아세요?
저희 대학교
네. 알바니 프리스쿨이라고 뉴욕주, 아마 뉴욕시티 말고 뉴욕주라는 데가 또 있나 봐요. 저 미국을 안 가봐서 잘 모르는데 거기에서 좀 가난한 동네인데 알바니 프리스쿨이라고 하는 대안학교에서 40년 동안, 올해로 딱 40년이시래요. 그 아이들을 만나고 오는데 그 단순히 학교에서 교사 노릇만 하는 게 아니고 이분의 미덕이라고 하면 그 아이들하고의 만남을 잘 관찰을 하고 그 다음에 이 아이들의 성장에 대단히 관심이 있는데 이 아이들의 성장을 가로막는 게 과연 뭘까에 대해서 공부하고 그 공부한 것을 사람들하고 나누고 이런 일도 동시에 40년 동안 해오셨더라고요. 그래서 그 공부의 결과물들이 책으로 이제 이렇게 나오기도 했는데 마침 저희가 이제 그 책을 알아가지고 10년 전에 책을 한 권 냈었어요. 그 책 제목이 뭐냐 하면 두려움과 배움은 함께 춤출 수 없다 라는 제목의 책이었어요. 멋지지 않아요? 네, 그쵸. 사실 원제는 그게 아닌데 민들레에서 멋지게 붙인 거예요. 소제목으로 있었는데 이게 딱이다 하고는 그걸 이제 붙였는데 다들 그 제목을 엄청 좋아하시더라고요. 근데 생각해보면 이번에 또 하나 새로운 책을 냈는데 그게 뭐냐 하면 아동기를 가로막고 있는 세계. 그래서 아동기를 가로막고 있어서 아동기를 정상적으로 누릴 수 없게 만들어서 아이들의 성장이 가로막힌다라는 취지의 이제 책을 다시 냈는데 저희 제목으로는 길들여지는 아이들 이렇게 제목을 붙여서 이번에 새로 책을 냈거든요. 두려움과 배움은 함께 춤출 수 없다나 그 다음에 길들여지는 아이들이나 이 두 책에서 일관되게 이제 크리스가 얘기하고 있는 게 뭐냐면 그런 두려움을 또는 불안을 이렇게 먹게 만드는 사회 또는 교육 시스템 이게 얼마나 그 아이들이 가지고 있는 본연의 어떤 힘이나 그런 것들을 갉아먹고 있고 그러면 그 갉아먹혀 있는 이 상태를 우리가 어떻게 극복할 건가를 일관되게 되게 추구해 오셨구나. 그 추구가 더 깊어지고 더 넓어지고 그래서 우리에게 또 하나의 시사점을 주고 있구나 이런 생각이 들었고 그걸 이제 함께 나누고 싶어서 저희가 이번에 초대를 했는데 마침 응해주셔서 여기 평촌에서도 함께 만날 수 있게 됐습니다. 그래서 그분이 들려주는 그 어떻게 두려움을 먹게 만드는지 어른이나 아이나 어떻게 불안과 두려움 속에서 지내게 됐는지 그 다음에 그걸 극복할 수 있는 비결이라고 해야 되나 길은 뭘지 이런 거에 대해서 함께 오늘 얘기를 나눌 수 있겠고요. 멀리서 이런 그 지혜 특히 지금 이렇게 어려운 시절에 이런 가만히 있는 아이들 그 다음에 통제당한 아이들 이런 아이들의 성장을 어떻게 도울 수 있을까에 대해서 한 자락 지혜를 들려주시는 우리들의 좀 나이가 든 친구가 오셨고 그 친구를 또 우리에게 잘 전해줄 젊은 친구가 있어서 이 자리가 좀 되게 풍요롭고 의미가 있을 거라고 생각이 들거든요. 혹시 이렇게 불편하신 게 있으면 말씀을 해주시면 아마 크리스가 또 다른 얘기를 하시고 거기에 맞게 서로 소통이 될 거라고 생각합니다. 오늘 여러분 모두에게 좋은 시간 되시길 바랍니다. 반갑습니다.
안녕하세요. Yes, I'm very honored to be asked to be here today. Very, very honored. Yes, and thank you to the Cultural Center for providing this it's a beautiful space. Yes, and I want to personally thank Mindele Publishing for being such incredible hosts to me. They treat me like a little baby. I never have to worry about anything. Everything is just what I need. So I'm going to miss that when I go home. Yes, and I also want to thank Julie because she is the best in the world. I mean, it is amazing what she can do. I'm going to miss that too. Her English is better than my English. So this is my second time to Korea. And It's very exciting for me to be back to see what has been happening since I was here 10 years ago. Yes, 10 years ago, Mindele was just beginning its troublemaking. Yeah, but now I see a revolution has begun in education, especially while I've been gone. Yeah, so it's very exciting. So where are all the men? But I want to say a special welcome to the men who have come out today. Not enough men become teachers, especially teachers of younger children. Yeah, and I want to thank all of you for taking time away from a very beautiful, well, it's not as beautiful now, but this morning was a beautiful summer day. And I understand that all of you are on holiday now, or most of you on holiday? Yes? Is that? Yes? So in the States, if I were giving a talk today, there would be 5 teachers here. Yeah, so this is such a sign of your commitment to your work. Yeah, so I want to make this as productive I'm sorry we're late, but I want to make this, it was partly my fault. I was talking too much at IDEC. So anyway, I want to make this as productive a time as we possibly can. So I want to ask, did anyone come with questions or something they wanted us to talk about today? I'd like to ask. Oh, good, thank you.
저는 무슨 생각을 했냐면요. 아이들을 키우고 있는 엄마고요. 이렇게 현장에서 아이들 이렇게 토요문화교실을 진행하고 있는 선생님으로서요. 아이들에게 어떻게 야생성을 들려줄 수 있는지, 지금 사회가 원하는 인재상이나 사회가 필요로 하는 그런 아이들은 말 잘 듣고 통제가 잘 되는 아이들인데, 거기에서 어떻게 우리 아이들의 오감을 잘 살려줄 수 있을까, 굉장히 궁금해하면서 왔습니다. 그런 방법을 구체적으로 알려주셨으면 합니다.
Anyone else?
또, 예.
저는 아동발달센터에서 이제 부유한 아이들이나 ADHD 아이들이나 장애를 갖고 있는 아이들이 치료하는 치료사로 지금 있는데요. 그 전에는 이제 대안학교에서 ADHD 아이들을 이제 많이 만났었고, 지금은 이제 발달센터에서 만나고 있는데, 그러니까 사실 선생님이 쓰신 가만히 있지 못하는 아이들이나 지금 이제 말씀하시는 어떤 그런 맥락에서 사실 장애 아동들이나 ADHD 아이들을 보통은 가만히 있지 못하고 어떤 정신의학에서는 정적인 어떤 부분으로 취급을 하기도 하고, 굉장히 학교에서도 문제 하나 통제 대상으로 이렇게 교사들이 기피하는 아이들이 되고 있는데, 그 아이들의 교육에 대한 선생님의 생각을 좀 지혜를 얻고 싶어서.
네, 저는 좀 거꾸로 질문을 여쭈고 싶은데요. 그러니까 어렸을 때는 애들이 가만히 있지 못하는데, 그 청소년기가 되고 중학교 1학년, 2학년 되면 하고 싶은 게 아무것도 없다고 그래요, 애들이. 또 너희가 뭘 원하니? 그러면은 아무것도 없어요 하면서 그냥 게임만 하고 있으면, 아니면은 그냥 지네들끼리 수다만 떨고 있으면 된다고 하고, 아무것도 하고 싶은 게 없다고 요즘 아이들은 거꾸로 얘기를 해서 그게 답답하거든요. 그래서 혹시 그 아이들을 우리가 어떻게 받아들여야 될까에 대해서 좀 이야기를 해주실 수 있으면 너무 감사하겠습니다.
Yes, the same question. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it's okay later if someone has another question. Anytime. You know, I came prepared to talk about something, but we don't need to talk about any of this, whatever. Or probably we will, but so if at any time someone has something they want to share or a question, please feel free. But those 3 questions will keep us busy till midnight tonight. So, my best talks always begin with questions. So, before I do, there's one thing I wanted, but I have to talk about, only for a few 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean it's right here. When I arrived last Thursday, it was the 100th day after the Sewol-ho ferry disaster. Yeah, and Mrs. Kim brought me to City Hall in Seoul, and we were sat with the vigil for a couple of hours. Yes, I still have mine. And many times that night I heard people saying, we must never forget this. We must always remember what happened. And so, it always makes me very sad. So I don't want to talk a lot about it. I just want us to remember, again today. I want to remember. I want us all to remember. And I only want to say that, without explaining it, I think there's a very strong connection. I want to say that the things we're going to talk about today, I think, are part of the answer, or part of what we need to learn from that tragedy. Yeah. And I think your question, which was also your question, but you exactly said, how do we keep teenagers from becoming so passive, not wanting to do anything, just wanting to all day. Yes. And your question is the answer to that question. Yes. And then your question about what do we do about these so-called ADHD children also fits right in. So here we go. So how do we wake children's senses up? We shouldn't have to wake children's senses up. Because when a baby is born, a baby is totally awake. Their senses are just exploding with their work of learning about their new world. So I understand your question, and it's a very important question. But I think maybe the more important question is, why do children's senses go to sleep? It is so much easier to prevent a problem or prevent a sickness than it is to heal it after it has already occurred. Yes. And that's why I wrote In Defense of Childhood. Okay. So to answer the question, why do children's senses go to sleep? The simple answer is because young children aren't getting the kinds of experience that keep their senses alive and active and growing. So it's a very modern problem. Yes, when I was a little boy, my senses were very alive, very awake. I grew up in a city, Washington, D.C., not as big as Seoul, but I was outside playing every day, even in winter. When I was 3 years old, I had my own garden. Yes, I remember tomatoes, string beans, strawberries. It wasn't a big, maybe my garden was as big as this table, small, but it was my garden. When I was 5 years old, I had a little wagon, and I went around the neighborhood, and in those days, no plastic, but soda bottles. We would collect soda bottles and get 2 cents for each bottle. I was rich. I was a cute little boy, and I was saying, "Can I please have your bottles?" Oh, okay, here's some. Take your bottle. And also, on a hot summer day, we would set up a stand, and we would sell cold drinks and sometimes candy to people. And when I was 10 years old, I bought a lawnmower, and I would cut people's lawns. And I would take care of their gardens. And then I was really rich.
그렇게 해서 진짜 그때는 큰 돈도 만져봤습니다.
No, I always had a pocket full of cash. My father would borrow money from me. And then when I went to school, I didn't enjoy school. School was very boring. But the school day was only 6 hours long. And in the morning, every morning we had 20-minute recess. We had 1 hour for lunch, and we could leave school if we wanted to for the entire hour. We could do whatever we wanted for that 1 hour. We didn't have to eat. And we got 20 minutes recess in the afternoon. And I could do my homework in 20 minutes. So I say that school only interrupted my life, a little bit. And then, let's see, when we played sports, I loved to play every baseball, football, basketball, soccer, ping pong, bowling, I loved every sport. But most of the time, there were no adults. It was just my friends and me playing our own games. Yes, there were no coaches, and unless I was playing on a team. If I played on a basketball team, there was a coach, or a baseball team, there was a coach. And that's okay. But most of the time, we just played by ourselves. We made up our own rules. And well, again, when I wasn't in school, I spent a great deal of time out in the city. And my mother did not know where I was. As long as I came home for dinner on time, she trusted me. She trusted that I would be responsible and take care of myself. So I had a bicycle, and I went everywhere. My friends and I would go down to the Potomac River to go fishing. We would ride our bicycles to the river to go fishing. And the old men would teach us tricks for how to catch a lot of fish, like spitting on your worm before you threw it in the water. So, what happened, right? That's why I wrote In Defense of Childhood. I started, one day I looked at the childhood that my students were living. And then I compared that to my childhood, and I just was like, wow, oh my God, right? And so what I wanted to say in the book, and this is the answer to the question, is that all of us, every child, but all of us are born with, a spirit or a spark inside. And I call that the spark, the name I gave to it was inner wildness. But it really means spirit. But I wanted a word, well, sometimes spirit, we use the word too much. And it means different things to different people. So I wanted a word, or 2 words, I wanted a term just for children. And also, it's a little bit wild. It wants to be a little bit wild. That spirit it wants the freedom to have the kinds of experiences that will keep to keep our senses awake. Are we okay? Okay so far? So, inner wildness is strong, and it's very persistent, but it is also vulnerable. Yeah, if it doesn't get enough to eat, if it doesn't have enough rich experience and enough wild experience, then it goes to sleep. It doesn't die, but it goes to sleep. And so, I think the problem today is that from the moment a child is born, even before, even when the mother is giving birth, I don't know if we'll talk about that, but in the book I talk about that. From the moment every child is born, or almost every child, all of their experience is being controlled from outside. Something is always managing the child. And so the other reason I liked the term inner wildness is because I think what has happened to childhood today, everywhere, at least I think definitely in Korea and in the United States, I think it seems very similar. I say that childhood has become domesticated. It's like we took childhood and we put it in a cage. So, what do we do? So then, in the book, we don't have time now, but in the book, I go through each stage of childhood to talk about how today someone controls it, and also to talk about the alternative. So I'll just pick a few, and then if we have time, we'll talk about more. But for example, at home, young children at home today, I think parents are much more controlling than when I was a child, and I don't blame the parents. The reason parents, I think, or one big reason why parents today are more controlling is because I think you said fear, yes? Did you say fear? Yes, because we're frightened. And anyone who is a parent who has children, I know understands that when we are frightened for our children, then we have a very powerful instinct to want to protect our children. Yes, it's just human instinct. And the way that we protect them then is to try to control every possible element that we can control. And then, but we need to look at why are parents so afraid? What are they afraid of? Yes, and the reality today is, and my mother didn't have to worry about this, is that parents are being bombarded by messages, scary messages about raising children. Especially bombarded with messages about safety. And this is tricky to talk about. Of course we want our children to be safe. I always wanted my daughters to be safe. But I think we've just gone too far. Today we want to do everything possible to prevent any accident from ever happening, any child from ever getting hurt at all. And I think it's important to realize that many of those messages that we get about keeping our children safe are coming from corporations, businesses, companies that are selling things that keep children safe. Also, today, insurance companies we have this problem today where anytime, like if a child gets hurt on a playground, then someone sues whoever owns the playground. There is a lawsuit for lots of money. So everybody's constantly worrying about a lawsuit. And then, largely because of the media and the 24-hour media, we're constantly getting messages that the world is very dangerous for our children. Like if we let them play outside alone, if we don't watch them, someone will take them, kidnap them. Listen, I don't know about Korea, but in the U.S., there is no more. The world is no more dangerous for children than it was 30 or 40 years ago. It's no more dangerous than when I was a child. Yes, when I was a boy, from time to time, someone would kidnap a child and do something bad to him. It happened. And same is true today. But today, when it happens, then everyone around the world knows about it, and the media makes such a big deal out of it. So, in the end, we have this perception that childhood is dangerous, that the world is dangerous, but it's just a perception. In reality, childhood today is safer than it ever was before. But the perception is so powerful that the perception is what controls the decisions, the choices that parents make. So it's very important for us as parents somehow to wake ourselves up. Parents have to stop. And husband and wife have to talk to each other. We have to examine that perception and really think about it and understand that we've gotten this message and understand to whatever degree it is just a perception. And then really look at the environment to decide, rationally, not out of all this fear, what is safe and what is not safe. And of course it is our job to keep our children safe, but it is not our job to make sure our children never fall down and scrape their elbow or maybe break their wrist or bump their heads. Because again, what inner wildness needs every day is, or what a child needs to keep its inner wildness awake, is to experience the world on their terms, to have their own experience, to shape their own experience, not have someone else always shaping it for them. Children need to fall down sometimes. It's very important. They need to take risks. They need to challenge themselves. They need to climb the tree. And even if it means they might fall out of the tree, not from the top, but break their arm. Yes, challenge is very important. If children do not have enough real challenges, then inner wildness drifts off to sleep. But then again, to say another thing, a big important ingredient of childhood that is missing now, that feeds inner wildness, that keeps the senses awake, is play. I think we all know that children need to play. Right. And there are many kinds of play, including video games. That is playing. But the kind of play, but it's a certain kind of play that feeds inner wildness. And also, the same, just so we understand, for teachers here and also parents, and this is something we don't talk enough about at all. the same kind of play also is a powerful a source of learning for children. Cognitive, mental learning. Play is the same kind of play also feeds, a child's mind. I wish we had more time to talk about that, but you'll have to just take my word for it for now. Or there's an entire chapter in the book about this subject. But the kind of play that I'm talking about is play that children initiate themselves. It's spontaneous, and it has no purpose for a child other than it's something, it's going to be fun, it's going to be exciting. And often it is physical, it has a physical component. Yes, it often involves nature. Yes, but that kind of play we see is disappearing. Yes, so it's very important for parents to help see that their children have opportunities every day for that kind of play. Okay, we better talk about school. Children today spend so much more time in school. School, in so many ways, is taking over children's childhoods, stealing their childhoods. And I think that problem is definitely worse in Asia. Children go to school before school, after school, Saturday. I saw all the test prep somewhere here, and oh my God, it's just there's nothing. It's all school, childhood. School it's taken over. But and maybe everyone understands, but because of this, I will say it. That pressure, especially here in Korea, the kind of pressure young people are under is deadly. It's deadly. It can kill them. Because that kind of pressure, it forces children to be very passive. So the answer to that question, I think she's gone, but the question of, so what do you do about all the teenagers that just want to be on their phones all day long and play video games and be in front of a screen and not go out, not do anything else, not be active, but just be passive? And the answer is, when children have enough experience, rich experience when they're younger, then they're not going to end up that way. In my school, and also with my daughters, children in my school, they play video games, they have phones, they Facebook, sure, they love all that stuff. But they don't do it all day long. When they're teenagers, they go outside. They go and do things. They play. They have all kinds of ways that they play. They hang out with each other face to face, not Facebook, but they get together and hang out, mess around, play, do things, right? So the kind of passivity that she was talking about is a symptom of a disease that started a long time before. But it isn't just a problem here in Korea or Asian countries. It is a big problem in the US. The rate of depression in young people in the States now, young people in their 20s, early 30s, is just going like this. It's really bad. And the market for antidepressant medications, same thing. It's of the entire population in the U.S., the biggest consumers now of antidepressant medication is young people in their 20s, early 30s. So it's becoming an epidemic in my country, and I say the primary fundamental cause is a domesticated childhood. And then I have to talk about ADHD, which is very complicated, and I wrote a whole book about that too, because it's a very complicated subject. And I hate to say only one or two things, simple things, but yes, good, 5 minutes. We can do a lot in 5 minutes. But partly ADHD is also a symptom of the change in childhood. Yes, in two different ways. Well, more, but two. I'll talk about two. One is sometimes when they're very small, they don't have enough, they don't get to play enough, they don't have enough rich experience, too much TV, too much, I don't know, not going outside, no nature. They become, then when they get to be time for school, the whole world actually is kind of getting. And also sometimes young children have emotional problems that cause them to be. But also some children are just born that way. Children are all very different. Some children are born nice and quiet. The children we all want, right? Nice. Okay, mommy. Okay, daddy. Okay. Sure, I'll do that. Okay. Some children. But some children are born just lots of energy. That's just the way they're born. But 50 years ago, if a child, whatever the reason, if a child was, that was normal. That was okay. But now that we have domesticated childhood, and we have so many children, becoming just very passive, we consider children who are not passive, who have lots of energy and want to go, go, go. We say they have a disease now. It's not normal, it's a disease. Yeah, and it's especially a problem. Really, this problem was invented in school. It was teachers in the beginning. It wasn't parents who were saying, oh, what's wrong with my child? He's so wild, he's got so much energy. No, it was teachers who did, oh my God, this kid won't sit still. He won't listen to me. He's driving me crazy. He has a problem. He's a problem. It was schools that began complaining. Because today, this is the last thing. Today, even, kindergarten, school says to children, sit still. Do your reading. Learn your math. It's all sit still. Stay put. Yeah, sit still all day. And many children, especially boys, they're not ready to sit still. It's too soon. They got too much energy. If you don't let that energy express itself, then all kinds of things go wrong. But there's no room in school anymore. No room for that. It's just immediately, he's got ADHD. He won't sit still. And so again, it's a very complicated issue. We could all day talk about ADHD, but I still strongly believe that in many ways, schools are causing the problem. Schools are the problem, not the child. Now, I'll shut up. But thank you for the opening. You see, those 3 questions were all we needed.